thank you so much for joining us today at the end of a snappy first term, going very, very fast. I just want to also acknowledge Nick for hosting us here at Siena. Fantastic to rotate the venues around for this Leading Innovation series. My name's Tamara Floyd. I'm the executive for the Australian Council for Educational Leaders WA branch, and also the principal of Restrada Middle School in Willerton, which is a large public primary school in the southern suburbs. I am joined by some other exec members here today. We've got Gary Racy, our Vice President on the WA branch, Marie Whiteley, also on the executive, and Yetta here as well from CEWA. So welcome, and we'll get underway for our Leading Innovation. First of all, I'd just like to acknowledge that we're standing on Whadjuk Noongar country. We're on Muru Noongar Puja, and I found this awesome map, which basically shows all the different kinds of Indigenous places in this space, in this area. Just going to...
Alex is that once he comes in and does some talk to the kids about how they can apply their knowledge elsewhere, like the in industry, how people are using AI, some cool stuff, some cool tools. We've had SJ Price, who is a lawyer who focuses on AI legislation. And we've had Sarah James, who is a data scientist. And she talks about shipping out AI and uploading this involved making AI systems. So we're trying to give like a really holistic approach to learning about AI. And because these are all autistic kids as well, the content is very broad, but also it's able to be adapted really specifically to the individual's interests. So that's kind of what we've been doing over the last year. Now that the curriculum is finished, the development is mainly finished, I've moved over to Woodsie for most of my time, and I'm working on expanding this program to bring it into mainstream schools. So at the moment, this is just one January to the school holidays. We're aiming now to expand it, make it available to years 5 to 10. Years 5 to 10, and to be able to have teachers deliver this program, encouraging people to learn about AI, use AI, and introduce it in their classrooms. I did a couple of presentations at the Doubleview Forum's Quality Foundation's State of AI in WA Schools forum last year, and pretty much the only question I got was, how can I get the boot camp started in my school? So I'm super keen to be working on this. We are at the moment, I kind of started working on this properly in January, so we're focusing on aligning it with the digital technologies curriculum, if they were different. And we have run a couple of good sessions.
Hey, glad you're back. Ready to dive in?
We've kind of run a couple of sessions to sort of trial out some of the content in a more mainstream format at Restrada Primary at the Young Engineers Club and at Mount Maria Primary at Adelaide at the Young Engineers Club. They seem to enjoy it. Some of the things we do in these sessions is we make our own AI model. We talk about the data that we use to train the AI. I usually show them an AI model, and I have a little hidden class at the bottom that categorizes whales as cows or something, and I trick them into doing this. So making it super fun, but also learning more in-depth AI concepts, not just this is how you use ChatGPT. So yeah, do a little bit of making AI models. We also do some programming with AI. So I built a couple of custom platforms where they can do block coding with AI, make some little AI programs and some Python coding, which is in a closed system, sort of, so that you can view every input and output that the models give you. And it's also got a lot more guardrails and just setting them off and letting them do stuff in Python or whatever. The other thing we do is we have been playing with this little robot, which I'll give you a video of. Hello.
Hey, glad you're back. Ready to dive into more AI magic?
Who are you?
I'm Richie Min, your AI mentor, built by the amazing Beth to keep it cool and clever.
What's your favorite type of AI?
Gotta love reinforcement learning. It's like giving an AI treats for good behavior, just like training me.
Tell me how AI works.
AI is all about spotting patterns in data and making predictions, like me guessing you're about to ask another awesome question.
What AI is in your brain?
Lots of neural networks under the hood, all fine-tuned by Beth's genius. No brain freeze here.
Who's the smartest person in the world?
Beth, obviously. She built me, didn't she?
So we use that robot to talk a little bit about AI, controlling AI, hidden instructions, AI safety, how we can interact with the models and make them say what we want. But yeah, so at the moment we are running these trial sessions. We're also, this is kind of what I'm developing at the moment. So my end goal for this is to have something that I can give to teachers who can have in their schools. They can assign different modules to their students and they have all these resources. They can see any flag prompts that the students have put in that get blocked. We have some curriculum alignment and some coding tools and other resources as well. So I'm aiming to kind of do like a one-stop shop for AI education, which would be super cool. But at the moment, I'm really looking for input from educators. So I've run some student sessions. I've obviously run the boot camps. I'm going to be a little bit cheeky and ask you guys for some feedback if you have some time. I also have some little handouts with this QR on, but there's a survey. If you scan the QR, asking about your experience teaching or using AI in your schools. Yeah, that's what I'm up to at the moment. That's what we're up to. Thanks. Any questions? Cool.
I have a question actually,
Yeah.
Beth. So in terms of you know, how people access this,
Mhm.
is it open to every school? Can anyone try to?
Yes. So at the moment we're running these sessions for free. They're an hour kind of incursion style. So I'll come to the school and for free in the Perth metro area from year 7 to 10. So if you check me an email, I will come and do some fun stuff at your school.
Great.
Mhm.
Anything planned for primary?
Yes, I've obviously done a few sessions with the younger kids. If you throw me an email, I'll be able to see if I can fit a primary in, but we're aiming more for the high school students at the moment, mainly because of some age restrictions on AI software that I want to be mindful of. So generally high school is preferred, but if you're really keen, then get in touch anyway.
Great. Thanks so much, Beth.
Thank you.
All right. Our next speaker is Kirsty Fitz, philosophy specialist teacher at North Harrisdale Primary School. I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about how this operates. Really exciting that we've got philosophy happening in primary schools, and you know, great to hear how it's operating. So thanks very much, Kirsty.
Thank you for having me. Okay, today I wanted to share with you not just what Philosophy for Children or P4C is, but why it matters, how it works in a real school, and why I believe it's the most powerful, or is one of the most powerful things we can do for children. The title of this talk, Will Change the World, is not just hyperbole. When children learn to think carefully, ask better questions, and reason with intellectual courage, they become the kind of citizens that we need in this world. So, this is me. My name is Kirsty Fitz. I'm the philosophy specialist teacher at North Harrisdale Primary School. I'm also the chair for the Association of Philosophy in Schools WA, current chair at the moment. We are the professional association for philosophy teachers in Western Australia. We run training, we run philosophy competitions in secondary and primary school, and we produce the ATAR exams for year 11 and 12. My background, I have a Bachelor of Early Childhood Education from Curtin. I did my Master of Education at Murdoch. focusing on contemporary education. So I looked a lot about educational neuroscience. It's where I did a lot of work on philosophy for children. And then I am level 1 trained for philosophy with APAS and also in the UK, which they are the gold standard for philosophy for children in the world currently. It's Sapere, they're now called Portugal. So I am a level 2 educator with Sapere. So, philosophy in a primary school. Yeah. Raises eyebrows. The next question I get is, so you teach Nietzsche to children? No, not quite. PhD is not a tough philosophy. So it's not doing theory and then looking into the ethics and applying logical reasoning. It's not that. It's not a university lecture. And it's not doing abstract theory. We're not doing Descartes meditations with children. We're asking them, what does it mean to live well? Is it ever okay to lie? Is it ever okay to steal? And those are things about. So what it does look like is these are photos from my classroom of children sitting in a circle in community inquiry and inquiring about a big question together. My classroom, 2 different classrooms. We've been open 5 years. I've had 5 different classrooms so far. Philosophy for Children has its origins from Matthew Lipman in the US. He was a philosophy educator and was frustrated by his university students' lack of reasoning. And he did a bit of research and he's drawn it back to and said that, well, actually, what if we got into primary schools or elementary schools in America? What if we got in there and tapped into that and got children thinking and developed it from there? So it's rooted in the tradition of John Dewey. So the classroom is a democratic space for shared inquiry. He started out by writing stories for kids. So one of his famous novels is Pixie, and it came with a teacher guide with questions and activities to develop philosophical thinking with children. Not around in print anymore, but you can download it at the international, it's IAPC, it's the Philosophical Centre. And it's philosophy of children is practiced in over 60 countries worldwide. So the big idea here is that children are natural philosophers. They are asking why constantly. Like a 5-year-old, he does not stop talking. Why this, why this, why this? They're natural philosophers. So having a structure of philosophy for children gives children the tools to ask better questions. They reason collaboratively and carefully. You're exploring ideas with intellectual courage and then listening with genuine curiosity. We're giving kids a voice. We're telling them that their voice matters and their opinion matters, and that's extraordinarily powerful. So you're all leaders, so where does it fit in the Australian curriculum? It maps directly to the general capabilities. So under critical and creative thinking, you're posing questions, we're reasoning, we're analysing, evaluating, reflecting on thinking. It's under ethical understanding, we're exploring values, considering perspectives, reasoning about right and wrong, and it also underpins with the personal and social capabilities. So self-awareness, empathy, collaborative skills, and respectful disagreement. It's not an add-on, it deepens what students are already learning. So philosophy at North Harrisdale, it's a specialist subject. So alongside we have a STEM teacher, PE teachers, music teachers, art teachers, and a digital tech specialist. And I am the philosophy teacher. We do 45-minute weekly sessions, and I teach children from years 1 to 6. I have every class once for 45 minutes. They come to me in my dedicated thinking space. This was a deliberate and strategic choice by our principal. We know what teachers are like when things get busy, when there's lots of assessment, when that plan's on, when something's on, the sports comes on, something inevitably drops from your learning, and we didn't want this to drop. Thinking is a skill, skills need practice. If we want the kids to get really good, we want it to be valued. And having a dedicated space, I feel very, very fortunate. I actually have my own classroom, shows that we have a dedicated space for thinking, we value it. We use philosophical inquiry to go beyond what's taught in the classroom, exploring our big concepts, sometimes our student-generated questions, and then ideas that spark genuine curiosity. And where appropriate, we use concept development activities to get the kids to go super deep. So we use the curriculum as a starting point. So the curriculum as the stimulus. What are the kids already going to be learning? What are those big concepts in the curriculum? We're looking in science and maths and health. What are those big concepts already? How can we use philosophy to get them to think deeper about it? Sometimes we use student interest in current events. So those real world events become the rich philosophical territory. I vividly remember when the Titanic submersible happened, and I had year 6 first up, 8 with anyone. They came, Mrs. Fitz, you'll never guess what's happened. And I don't really watch the news. I had at that time a 3-year-old, so my mornings are chaos. And it's no way, no. We looked it up. Let's talk about that. That's really interesting. So we're looking at the value of human life, exploration. Should humans be allowed to explore anything, to be able to drive that curiosity? And we did that for a couple of weeks talking about that. When the Michael Schumacher fake interview scandal happened about the use of AI to reconstruct his voice and give an interview that never actually happened, we're looking at the ethics of AI use and deep fakes and all of that kind of stuff. So sometimes it's student interest about what's happening in the world. More often than not, it's the curriculum as the starting point. We pose the big question, and the big point here is the question has to be contestable. It can't have a clear-cut answer. Kids will sniff that out a mile away. It's got to have some kind of meat to it. We want to get kids to think and get into that cognitive conflict where I agree with this and I agree with this, but I don't really know. Both sides can be true. Robin Hood was a bad man because he's stealing, but he was giving the money to the poor, and that's a good thing. And I don't know whether stealing is a good thing or a bad thing anymore. That little grey area where the kids can start to get some debate. So the curriculum tells us what to teach. Philosophy helps us to teach children how to think. So in our philosophical inquiry, we listen to other people when they're speaking, and the big key word here is listen. When the kids are sitting in a circle, if they want to talk next, they can't put their hand out until the other person has finished talking, because that, if you've got your hand out, that's all you're telling me is I'm interested in what I've got to say and I want to talk next. Be prepared to think and explain your thinking. Respecting other people's ideas. We disagree with the idea, not the person. Think before you speak and build on what others say. We are always looking to move the inquiry forward and accept that there may be no single right answer. We might get to the end and we may not have a single right answer, but have we moved our thinking forward? The basic structure for philosophy for children, and you can kind of go 2 ways here. You present a stimulus to the kids. So it could be a song, a book, a picture, I don't know, anything that sparks curiosity that can get kids wondering. 2 lines. You can get children to generate their own questions. So using the question quadrant, so big question, open, closed questions, big questions, and questions about the text, sorting those questions, finding a good philosophical question and talking about that. Or you can present the big question yourself. So depending on time, the topic, where you want to go, what you want to cover, both equally valid. Then you move into your community inquiry, kids sit in a circle, we present the topic, we have thinking time, turn and talk, and then we start throwing the conversation out. I use an exercise ball, there's spiky balls that you put on your back. One of those, because they've got white and that grips the carpet, roll the ball to the person and the kids pass the ball and they pass the conversations themselves. My kids have been doing philosophy for 5 years now. It's a joy. I sit there and just listen and take notes and they run it themselves, they question themselves. Very rarely do I have to speak, which is lovely. We do our community inquiry. There's not many times that I like to say you'll just know, and you'll know when it's okay to stop, because that frustrates me as someone who likes to have control over everything. But you'll find it will genuinely come to an end and you can start to wrap it up, or the bell wraps it up for you. Kids get their last thoughts and then you can reflect. What was our thinking like today? Did we include everyone? Did we change our minds today? Did you challenge someone? Was your own thinking challenged? That's your general structure. This is some of my own planning, so showing you how the curriculum as the stimulus. So this was for year 4s. We started looking at the settlement in Australia. This is called a radial plan. So in the middle, the curriculum goes in the middle. Then in the next circle, all the different types of concepts that I could pull out of that topic. So settlement in Australia, we could talk about travel, curiosity, limits, risk, change, belonging, respect, power, courage, the unknown, adventure. What's something interesting that kids want to do? We chose here with ownership and stealing. And on the outside, all the types of big philosophical questions that we could possibly think of to go with those topics. And we ended up going with who decides who owns something? Can you steal something that's owned by many? And in my head, because this was done very late at night, I went, oh, that's really funny. Like the Gru with the minions, like, God, you steal the moon. Can you steal something that's owned by many people? Is it possible to steal the moon? Presented this to the kids, showed the clip of Guru trying to get the minions to rally to steal the moon, and presented the question of who owns the moon. We did a community inquiry. Turns out we needed to go a little bit deeper about what it means to own something. So we did this activity with the kids where you've got the three circles, somebody, nobody, and everybody, with a whole bunch of examples. Who owns forests? Who owns music? Who owns your body? Funny with kids at 9 years old, because you've got your parents, right? Who makes choices and who makes those decisions for you? Who owns electricity? Who owns the school? Who owns the internet? Who owns the moon? Who owns colours? That was a really fun one because I don't know if you know, Cadbury actually has a trademark for the purple. So whilst, you know, some people actually do own a colour. So that was quite an interesting discussion that came from one of our Digitech teachers. She went, I heard what you're doing. Did you know that Cadbury owns that colour? No, I didn't. That's so cool. And then we kept going on with that, with another community inquiry. This was something I did over 3 or 4 weeks. Sorry, I've gone ahead a bit. Loved at the end where one of the kids went, oh, Mrs. Vick, this reminds me of what we're talking about in the house. And I went, really? Isn't that interesting about ownership and can you steal something that's owned by many and who owns things and why? With my littles, we do philosophy there, which is from Sarah Stanley out in the UK. This little bear goes home. He has a little travelling journal. You get to do all the things that's beautiful about early childhood by taking the bear out everywhere. But the meat is he comes home with a philosophical question to discuss at the dinner table with mum and dad. And on one side it says, so this is I've got permission to share, this is one of my teachers at the school, her children, Tyler thinks this, and then on the other side my adults think, and then they come back and we talk about it and they share it and have a really good discussion. I love this because it brings it home to the families and gets the families talking about it over the dinner table. Gives you something to speak about other than just how was your day. So this one was, should we treat everyone exactly the same way? Why or why not? We do a philosophy Friday every Friday. We post 3 questions to the community. One for early childhood, which is generally based around the would you rather, because at kindy and pre-primary, all I really want them to start to do is have an opinion and tell me why. Why do you want this over this? And then a junior, which is our year 1 to 3s, and a senior 4 to 6s. And we post it on our social media and on our Seesaw platforms. And the kids are bursting to come in the next day. Sometimes they've brought, next day on Monday, sometimes they've brought their own little homework that they've done and they've made a poster to hang up in the room of what they want to, what they thought about the question and what their parents thought. And we get beautiful feedback on our Facebook page from parents. And this is what my classroom looks like. So I don't have any typical furniture. We sit on the floor. Community of inquiry needs no obstructions, so I can see you. We're all equal. We have cushions, there's couches. I have questions everywhere in my room. It's not so good. There's questions standing here with the kids. I agree with you. I disagree with you because I'd like to build on. I'd like to add. That made me think of this because I have a full philosophy library. My principal's just bought me a bookshelf because I'm running out of space. More pictures of things around the room. We put the philosophy Friday questions in the room as well. Questions around things that matter. So around our clock, we've got lots of questions about time. I kind of think if the kids are going to daydream or get off task, so I'm going to give them something to think about. I had this idea, I was sitting on the couch and went, oh, that's really interesting. Stop and wonder and look up. So now we have clouds on the roof with lots of philosophical questions. Questions on our lights. I love this. This was philosophy. So there are the branches of philosophy. So you've got epistemology, metaphysics, ontology, cosmology, ethics, aesthetics, and axology. And so we cover those throughout the year. And I wanted to show the kids that this is actually quite intellectual. This question we're doing is metaphysics. This question that we're doing, well, that comes under cosmology. And there is a very intellectual language here that and things that you're doing in the classroom. This is from Dr. Jen Moyle, who is our philosopher who does our training with us with APIS, because you have to have a philosopher in the room to be trained. And this was when she was writing her thesis to do her doctorate of philosophy. That's how she remembered the branch of philosophy. And I went, brilliant. I'm going to put it on my wall and I'll remember it too. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kirsty. And that's just blown my mind.
Yeah.
Who's got some questions?
Well done. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
Have you seen it? I'm sure you have. It's probably an obvious question, but have you seen this now being used by other? Because I know you've got your 45-minute sessions, and it was intentional. But have you seen it being picked up now across all the curriculum areas?
In the
and
school?
different- Yeah, in the school.
Yeah. My principal's actually just been here Fridays out of the classroom to work on our critical thinking strategy across the school. We've got quite ties with the University of Queensland. They've just got their critical thinking. They are doing phenomenal things, Queensland education system, and I've just heard Victoria as well. Looking at doing cognitive audits of our program and looking at the cognitive verbs and ensuring, if when I'm asking kids to apply, describe, evaluate, do I know what that means? Do the kids know what that means, and can they articulate that? So we're doing a lot of work now in that critical thinking space to bring it across. But yes, the big question is yes.
I was wondering, like, what the journey's like with some of the kids. I can see, like, having this ability to practice, like, disagreeing with one another. What sort of progress do you see, or can you give some, like, stories about the kind of distance they travel, given this chance to come in?
Oh, I love
practice
it.
disagreeing?
As it stands, and if you have primary schools, please come to our primary philosophathon. If there's no pressure, no stakes, it's really a beautiful competition. North Harrisdale is the only public primary school that competes, and my kids for the last 3 years have taken out a most promising philosopher award. And it's independent. I don't have anything to do with it. Independently judged. Yeah, the kids' thinking has developed. Our NAPLAN results are really, really strong. The teachers that come on site to do belief, they just say your kids are different. Our kids are beautiful. They're just phenomenal. The way they interact with each other, the way they talk, their persuasive text is just beautiful. Yeah.
And I can imagine that not anyone can just pick up and run a philosophy specialist program in their school. Can you talk about, like, what is the level of professional learning and training that a teacher would need to undertake to become?
Come to APIS. We run training every year. This year, our training is at Guildford Grammar School on the 5th of June and the 26th of June. It's $550 for a non-member, $600 for a non-member, $550 for members. And we basically give you 2 days worth of training so you can feel confident enough to come into your school and do it with your children. So I've only had the philosophy specialist role, so I've been teaching for 18 years. I came across philosophy for children in 2011 when I went to the International Conference on Thinking in Belfast. Saw James Nottingham there. He presented and showed a video of him doing philosophy with 3-year-olds as an early childhood teacher. That was me. I'm done. Give me everything that I can read. I'll go back, and I started playing with it. I read everything, got into their classroom and did it there. So you don't have to have a philosophy specialist role. I've been doing it with my classes since 2011.
Fantastic.
But yeah, come to the training. They're great. Training is run by Alison Freeman, who's the deputy principal down at Geograph. She's also on the WAPA board. She is phenomenal. Geograph has a philosophy for children approach across their whole school. Whether you have a specialist program, whether you have it across the school, I just think it matters if it's being done and done with fidelity with kids. Andrew Rogers, who works at Guildford Grammar, is one of the 8 philosophy and house teachers. He is just phenomenal. And then so we did have Jenny Moyle, but she's travelling now. We've got Dr. Kaz Bland, who is ex-philosophy professor at UWA, now works for Constable Care, and she heads up their critical thinking, the critical thinking arm of Constable Care, working very big with UQ to bring the critical thinking and excellence. She's going to butcher me for this, at Curtin University. So they're trying to replicate what UQ is doing with Curtin University and bringing that over here, and she's doing just crazy, amazing work with Constable Care.
Amazing.
But yeah, come to the training. It's great. Best training I've ever done.
Fantastic. I have one more question for you.
Yes.
How do you, I've got a question about the progress of the kids' thinking. Is there a way that you're sharing the kids' progress with families, like through reporting and that kind of thing?
Yes, I have a PDF report that gets attached to the kids' reports. Obviously, it's not a subject we can put into reporting to parents framework. So every kid gets a PDF report that explains philosophy for children, what we do. And then my principal and I have just developed like a ticker box. Are you developing? Are you well developed? Is it consolidating across critical and creative thinking, ethical understanding using the continuum? So underneath each of those markers, you know, where are you at based on a lot of anecdotal records.
Amazing. Oh,
Lots
that's
of fun.
incredible. Yeah.
But if you ever want to see it in action, come visit. We love visitors at North Harris. So ask Marie. We invite everyone. Come see what we're doing.
Fantastic. Oh gosh. Wow. Thank you. Thanks again, Kirsty. All right. That's amazing, Kirsty. Just incredible to see how that's operating in a primary school. I can imagine their feeder high schools will be very, very happy to be in
Oh, I just talked Carey into picking it back up again. They did have it as an ATAS thing, and I was like, I mean, I have a vested interest because that's where I want my son to go. Like, please, can you pick up philosophy? Jules Bird at Carey at Harris Downs just picked it back up again.
Fantastic. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are on to our final group of presenters. We have Kylie and Peggy from Catholic Education. And we are looking forward to hearing all about the Virtual School Network and the online learning project. Thank you.
So hi, I'm Peggy Fitzgerald, and I work at the office now. My background is teaching science. Always had a great love for pedagogy. And this is...
My name is Kylie Kingdon. My background, I was a house holder in school in southern suburbs, always been in house education, started as a teacher in online, and now in the office helping to run it. So very passionate about technology and running on subjects online.
So if we kind of explain where Catholic education has gone with online learning, we start with our why. And I suppose we've got to go right back to our education declaration and looking at the reasons why online learning is needed in our system. And if we just pull out, we can pull out lots, but if we just pull out that we are supporting targeted support for those from regions, rural land, remote areas, migrants, refugees, children with disabilities to reach their potential. This means tailoring to the needs of them, and Australian government's commitment to ensuring the education community works to provide equality of opportunity. And that's what this is about, equality for our students. And that's how all of this began. And if we look at our Catholic Education's vision, very similar. Catholic Education Western Australia is a Christ-centred, child-focused community of engaged learning environments, and you can have engaged learning environments online, remote learning. Emergency remote learning during COVID times was not online learning. It's nothing like that. Online learning is intentional. And so we've got to fight that quite a bit, but I think we do a good job of doing that. And inspiring all, I should have had the all bolded in purple, forgot that, to actively live the gospel. So that fits in nicely as well. And of course, we are a system, very, very different, the one system, very different to other states around Australia that have to work with different systems. But that's kind of good because we have got traction right across. And you can see a school up here needs to have the equality that a metro school has in their learning options and their learning availability. And so that's where all of this fits in. And the history of this, I found this the other day. We haven't used this picture before. We've been doing this for a while now. But this was how Vision started, was the boarding house in Geraldton shut down back in 2015. And then there were students coming down from Carnarvon to go to this boarding school, and then it shut down. I was like, well, what are these year 11 and 12 students going to do when they have to go back to Carnarvon and there's no learning options for them? And so that's how our colleague Meredith Rowe, way back in 2017, worked on 16-17, worked on getting Vision up and going and did an amazing job. Our students, why? He's a boy up in Karratha now, and it's not the cyclone that's just hit at this stage. But he's very upset because he couldn't get the subject choice that he wanted up there in Karratha. And why, this is just a look at why we have this program. And for our students, the reasons are for timetable clashes, that they do not have a course available, A, because they're a smaller school, they can't run all of their options, or B, because there's no teacher anymore in that school that can provide that option for that course. We're all familiar with the state of employment in our schools and being able to get teachers in a lot of our schools. There could be away from school for travel, health, competitions, elite athletes, etc. Or they really like to be an independent learner, and that online learning could suit them for some of their subjects. Let's hear from, could you just press play? This is from one of our principals, and this is why they've been involved with our virtual school network. Hopefully it works. We did test it earlier. Worked half an hour ago. It's always the way, isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's playing. It's playing.
No.
There we go.
Without access to the Vision program, our Year 11 and 12 program here at school would be very limited. And I'm sure that instead of being a school with growing enrolments, we would be seeing a decline in student numbers as they move through the higher years. Our school will never be big enough to offer the range of subjects that can be supplied through Vision. So parents would have been comparing what we offer with what boarding schools offer, and we would have definitely lost that battle.
So Northam is one of our big schools where we, not too far away, really, not just up the road a bit. But yeah, they are a big user of Vision, and their enrolments, they've seen an increase in enrolments stay even in their junior school, because they know now, that community knows that they have those courses available when their students get through. And this is from Carnarvon, again, cyclone territory today, but this is one of our parents. Come on.
If Vision was not available to my daughters, then our only option would have been to remove them from a Catholic faith-based learning system. For us, boarding school was not an economic option.
If Vision was not available, he would have to pick subjects he wasn't interested in, which would have either affected his ATAR or he would have had not a very enjoyable senior schooling. The other alternative that we faced was perhaps Maddie having to leave his home in Northam and boarding in Perth to obtain subjects he was interested in.
That's a real issue for our kids. They've got sports in those areas. They've got jobs in those areas and their peers are there, so besides the economic reasons. So this allows students now to stay in Year 11 and 12 in those areas. And just finally, one of the great things that was a fallout, I suppose, of, we've got the parents, the national why, principals wise, but it's our teachers why now that is a big trend now, is that we have a lot of teachers teaching online in the Vision program that either are soft retiring or are young mums that are staying at home and being able to work online at home, like a 0.2, and they're not losing their connection to learning. They're keeping up their accreditation. They absolutely love it. And this is now our biggest growing area, is being able to support and keep our teachers who are, they don't have that break anymore. They're keeping involved with education, which is absolutely amazing. They totally love it.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the how of online learning. So we'll start with Vision, because Vision started in 2018. We had our first students, and basically it is for year 11 and 12 students. They have 5 periods a week, just like any other subject on their timetable. One of those lessons is a Teams call, and that Teams call is with their teacher and their classmates from around the state. They all come together for 1 period a week. The other 4 periods, they're working through a OneNote that has been designed by their teacher, who has been trained in online pedagogy as well as instructional design. Our OneNotes are very, very detailed, and they step students through on what they should be doing in each of those lessons. Our teachers are in those OneNotes every single day, providing feedback, whether that be written, audio or video. They are in there every single day. We talk about support for our students, and support is important because they are learning independently, and not everybody is suited to online learning. Some of our students have been sort of forced into online learning for various reasons, and they need that little bit of extra support. So we have a massive support network. The first port of call is their Vision teacher. As a Vision teacher, you get to know your online kids really well, because they can just sit and chat with you and go, oh, Miss, have a look at this video that I took of the cyclone coming through. Didn't just happen today. So you get all of this interaction with students, you get to know them really well, and you are a support person. For a number of our students, their online teacher is their trusted person. Okay. We also have, and this is probably one of the biggest positions within Vision, is a school-based mentor. This is a teacher that is based at the school, that is a face-to-face person students can go to if they're having issues, if they're having tech issues, if they need to sit an assessment. This is the teacher that will set it up and supervise for them. They are library assistants, admin assistants, teachers, deputies, so many different ways that mentors run, but they are that face-to-face person in the school that the student can contact. School-based IT, we work very closely with school-based IT as well as our office IT to support the kids on the IT side of things. They're online classmates. Most of our classes have chat groups where they're chatting, they're being social. We go to camp, so they get to meet each other face-to-face. They set up their own WhatsApp groups and things, and they have that social interaction. And then finally, the parents and guardians. So we're working really hard to build an online community of our parents and guardians, so they understand what Vision is and can provide that extra support. In 2022, Catholic Education launched the virtual English as an additional language / dialect program. And this was English language support for students developing proficiency in standard Australian English. So these are intensive lessons that students can access to help them with their Australian Standard English, where they have an EALD specialist teacher working with them. And EALD teachers are gold. They are very hard to get. So being able to access that specialisation, super important. Again, we've got students from all over the state, so the geography doesn't matter, they can still access it. And it's for years 1 through to 10. The progression is then those students who wish to do an ATAR pathway can access EALD in year 11 and 12 through the ATAR pathway through Vision. So we've got a nice progression from year 1 all the way through year 12.
What's exciting at the moment is because those courses, those programs have been running for quite some time now, proven to be quite successful. We are now this year had the announcement that we are going to be working on a fully online school as well as to support these 2 specialisations. If we kind of look at Vision and the virtual EALD as specialisation courses, students are not in these courses full time. Most of our Vision students might do 2, maximum 3. We have had a student do 4 courses before. But this one is we're looking at creating this online school. It is going to be under Corpus Christi College. And we're going to put everything under the one umbrella. And this is really exciting. We're going to expand both of these because we've got numbers going through the roof. And this is going to, we all know the areas of student can't, attendance, all of that area, but this will be kind of probably year 5 right through to year 12 of fully online. So building on these, expanding these, creating this whole online suite under the Corpus Christi College, because we've got to be really careful about standard 14 and what parameters the government has told us that we can have fully online availability for our students. So that's really, really exciting. We're exploring it. We're not sure what it's going to look like yet. We've just started to look at that, but it's gotten the go ahead and exciting times ahead for our students. So we're really, really proud. You've seen that diagram 100 times. I know, I love it. There's another one added now these days about systemness, but I just love it. And we're really, really proud of our programs and the work that we've done that can really allow equitable choice of learning for our students and also our staff as well.
So finally, what does online learning look like in our context? This is my favourite slide in the entire world because it keeps growing. So this is Vision. We've had over 2,000 students go through Vision successfully. I love my little graph. Our little graph here where our Year 12 numbers have continued to grow. So we had a big focus on making sure that we're retaining Year 11s, but also the big trend has been Year 12s coming into Vision because their face-to-face classes have collapsed because they're too small and they need the teacher teaching maths instead of the 2 kids doing maths specialist. So we've worked a lot with schools to help support them in that way. And we're now pretty much at 50-50 with our 11s and 12s, which is fantastic. We've run a range of subjects. The ones in bold are what we've got this year in some sort of form. We always say you can run any subject online. Let us know what you want to run and we'll work it out. We've been working on ATAR drama at the moment. That's probably the most practical one. But all of our sciences, we have science kits that get sent out to students so they have access to those. And you can see that there's a lot of subjects that schools don't necessarily have big classes of or might not have expertise teaching. So VEALD, as I said, started in 2022 with 20 students and 1 teacher. They're now up to over 100 students with 3 teachers and a wait list. So this has really addressed an area of need and we know that this is going to continue to grow.
And there's lots more needs out there.
Yes.
We know that we can support and address.
So this is one of our favourite sayings from way back early in Vision. It's just geography. The fact that it doesn't matter where you are in the state, you should have the same access to education as a kid living in the richest suburb in Perth. And that's really something that drives us. And one of our parents actually said, and I need to read the quote here, distance is only an obstacle if you let it be. And for that to come from one of our parents says to us we're doing something right here. So when you think about school, it's about breaking out of bricks and mortar and starting to think about what we can do to make sure every kid gets the access to education. So that's us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Maggie and Kylie. Does anyone have any questions? Just incredible, though, to see the options available to kids now, especially to see that, right across our state that you're able to reach every pocket and make sure everyone's got access to education. It's really incredible. I didn't know that was off an offer from Siena, so that's amazing. Yeah, fantastic. So thank you so much for sharing today.
Kids, have you got trialing subjects as well? It's what we think we do.
So not we're hoping with the online school.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we're doing because Oh, except for VEALD. VEALD is years 1 through to 10. And then Vision has always been year 11 and 12, but not just ATAR, VET and certs as well. But now with the online school that we're looking at, don't quote me, 5 to 12 for the online school. And then also the Vision will drop down, and also our thinking is that we will drop that down into 9 and 10, etc. as well. And the difference being online school is fully online, whereas Vision, you would maybe just do 1 or 2 courses or something like that, not fully online. Trying to keep real flexibility.
With the certificate class, you know, that's for the vet subject.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, regional, that's
Yeah.
right off
Yeah.
where you're.
Yeah.
And our biggest course by far is our uni prep course, because definitely the regions, they often don't run them. And that has just been absolutely growing as the uni prep courses, and the flexibility we offer with that. A lot of schools are getting in on that uni prep.
And can I just say too, it's, you know, it's online learning. It's kind of got a bit of a wrap out there. Like we have all sat through online learning courses that are, so, you know, not saying that, you know, isn't the case with our courses at some stage, but we get the connections that our students make. We've just ended up with so many stories of students coming down and ending up boarding together at UWA or wherever, because they are in different schools across Western Australia, and through Vision actually made those connections, and life, you know, not lifelong, very young lives, but, you know, over the past 5 or 6 years, we've got so many stories of those. So we work really hard to get that collaboration happening and that communication, and that sense that it's no different than your face-to-face classroom. Yeah.
Is it always school-based? Like, do you get homeschooling families?
That's what the online school will be looking at as well. Yes. Yeah.
Look, a year or 2 away kind of thing, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
A
lot of setup, I'd say.
Yes. Looking at getting a cohort for next year at some stage.
Yeah, great. Oh, so thank you so much. Thank you again. So that wraps up our speakers for today. Nick has kindly organised with some wine and got some nipples in here. I'd love to stay and have a chat with you and mingle. It's great. These events are great just to be able to network as well. Before I sign off, just want to thank, we had about 8 online from all across the state. So thank you for joining us online. And just a little plug that we have a few ASIL WA events coming up. So ASIL is cross-sectoral, as you know, it's why we're all here together today. So learning from each other's sectors. We have a book club in the holidays, second week of the holidays. And we also have, if you work in a primary or early years setting, Dr. Amy Fabry is running a leading for the early years professional learning at UWA club in May. Perfect for those early childhood leaders in your school. And then we also have lucky enough to be hosting the national conference here this year in Perth, which is in the October holidays. It's probably been, I don't know if it's ever been hosted here. So it's generally always on the East Coast. There's an incredible lineup being assembled. So look out for the lineup and the registrations coming out soon. But yeah, take advantage of that being here in Perth. It's always amazing. I went to the Adelaide one a couple of years ago. It was fantastic. And people come from all over Australia, but they also come from New Zealand and all over Asia. So it's a really international conference as well. So
and being a state-based national conference, we're often most of the presenters of the breakout sessions, concurrent sessions, are local. So please consider presenting, or if you know if your school's doing anything great, or if you know of anything happening, we'll be putting that out as well.
So the theme is bold leadership. And future focused leadership. So if you know people doing bold leadership in some fashion in any sector, please let us know. And there will be some, international and eastern states presenters as well. So thank you.
Let's take a photo for it. Put the slide in front of the image. So we've got. I think we'll go back to the beginning. Thank you very much. That's it.